What's good with the YouTube, man? It's your boy Rojo, Convicts Perspective, joined by my boy, my co-host, my friend, Big Flacco is in the building. Man, today, as you could tell a little bit in the title, Flacco is going to discuss, what happened with his career, with the group that we used to be associated with, and dispel any of the rumors and false truths or anything that are out there, because people like to run their mouth. So he's going to set the record straight in his own words with the situation that happened. So without all the, preliminary blah 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 blah, let's get to it. What's up, Flox?
Man, chilling, bro.
That's
I
right.
feel it's that right time right now to just sit there and get it all out there, be transparent, because there's a whole lot of misconceptions about who did what, you know what I mean? So and why. So let's get straight to it. So I first started associating myself with the NF around 2000 when I paroled. I was sent out to the streets through Wino from Oakland and Carlitos from San, right? To go out there, I was on probation, I was supposed to get a job, lay low, getting insurance, do all the things, have a low profile. And once I was established, I was to communicate with Carlitos and send him my phone number. We had an established code. So I did that. I sent my number in, right? I was ready to rock and roll. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call from Daniel Oshley Lizard, right? And everything went from there, man. I got plugged in with Robert Chico Rose. I rose through the ranks, working hand in hand with him. And he ended up getting indicted on Operation Black Widow. Okay, so at that time, when he got indicted, we were the stragglers left out there on the streets. Okay, so we had communications with Skip and Goose and all them, right? And so we were taking care of all the business that needed to be taken care of at that time when everybody got indicted. So all the people that owed money, all the debts, all the issues, we was out there just running it for them, man, collecting all these debts. Therefore, I started to get a reputation as someone who was a solid individual. I started having a working relationship with the Carnales out there in Salinas as well. So around that time, I caught a case, well, I went in on a violation in 2002, right? I met the Carnal Huicho de Sanjo at that time, right? And I knew he had just stepped out from the Bay, and we were looking for him to get in contact. And I gave him the whole rundown about my situation, right? Which was, the thing that was interesting about my situation was I was left out there in the streets, right, during these indictments. And then I had two individuals who were telling on me at that time, Ashley and Chico Rose. Chico had just flipped. So the C started looking. So Huicho had the authority at that time to recruit NF members, right? And he could recruit them for either Skip or for Quete at that time. And so he was propositioning me at that time to be an NF candidate. Okay, so Blancho had agreed on that as well, right? So they were kind of starting the process, right? But Huicho wanted to wait till we got out there in the streets. So the Carnal, Robert Hanrahan came in, Bubba from Salinas. We started communicating. He goes, I heard about you through Boxer and this and that you're a solid individual. I'm in contact with Boxer. I could shoot your number to him. I said, oh yeah, go ahead. I didn't think nothing of it. About 2 weeks later, I get a call from a Boxer, right? I thought I was going to plug directly into the regiment I was previously associated with, but Boxer, because he was reestablishing Salinas and they wanted to get that as a stronghold again, had petitioned through Skip to get clearance for me to function in Salinas. And when he did that, I was able to bring two people from San Jose with me. So I was able to function out there in San Jose and report to Salinas. So all kinds of stuff happened. Boxer ends up getting caught up, then Smokey gets caught up, then Bubba gets caught up, and then Wino's out there as the RC. So Huicho had touched down at that time on the streets. And then he made a request, right, to Skip to start working with me out there on the streets. Skip told him, we'll wait and see how you do out here, right? So while Huicho was out there, he ended up absconding from parole. And when he absconded on parole, he got in contact with me. He said he needed help. So I reached out to the Carnales out there in Salinas and said, hey, the Carnal Huicho, he's caught up, he's on the run, he needs a place. So Wino puts me in contact with Cyclone Montoya. I get in contact with him. Me and Huicho, we drive all the way out to the Salinas. I meet Cyclone in one secluded spot, and then we drive from there all the way to this little town called Marina, which used to be, I think, Fort Ord. And so when we're there, Wino ends up paying the female money. Weechel supposed to stay at the spot, but Weechel said he had to take care of some business. And he will come back. So in the process of that, we left. I take Weechel back to San Jose. Weechel was kind of losing his mind at that time, and what he wanted to start doing was he was trying to kidnap his cousin who started a landscaping business, and he wanted to hold him for ransom, right? And so we ended up giving him a cuete, right? You know, I was told not to abandon him, do whatever I could while I was out there. So he ends up, next thing you know, I'm getting a knock at my door. He's in a whole fucking mechanic fucking suit. He comes in, I'm like, what the fuck, man? He goes, man, I just tried to rob my cousin, man. He goes, I pistol whipped him, I dragged him. He stole my car, I stole his car, and all kinds of crazy stuff. It wasn't making no sense to me, right? And then I turn on the TV, watching the Channel 5 news. Guess whose picture comes out on Channel 5? Luis Huicho Gonzalez, wanted for attempted kidnapping and carjacking. And I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? He calls someone, gets picked up, I take off. I go get my car that I just had some body work done. Go to a motel. They end up coming to the hotel. They got my numbers where I was at because I was married and I had everything in my wife's name at that time, who was, you know, a young chick from Watsonville, not known or anything. And so I didn't think that they were able to catch up to me. So next thing you know, I'm getting a knock on the door. Hey, we had a 911 call. My wife hesitated at the time for a second while I started flushing on my dope. I had my 9-month-old daughter in the room. And so from there, she ended up opening the door. I didn't find everything. They found about a quarter zip of dope in the room. First thing the cop said was, hey, how you doing, Hunter? I'm like, I'm doing good. I go, you ain't heard nothing that I've been doing anything bad out here in the streets. He goes, well, you know, I heard you know Luis Gonzalez. I'm like, fuck. That's why they're there. So in the process of them trying to interview me, I'm telling them I don't know nothing. I got nothing to say. They have her outside. And they tell me that if you don't tell us, we're going to take your wife to jail. We're going to put your daughter in CPS custody and you're going to be washed. I'm like, well, do what you got to do. Put the cuffs on. So they put the cuffs on me. They put me in the patrol car. They go interview my wife at that time, right? They try telling her, he says he doesn't care about you or his daughter, that he knows where he's at. But he told us, fuck you guys. You know, do you know where he's at? And she knew where he was at. And she said, no. So they tell her, you know, you're young. He's involved in some criminal operations out here in the streets. He's involved with the NF. You may want to leave him. She takes off. I lived off of Stevens Creek in Winchester at the time. She goes to the house. The cops had already hit the house. She looked at the caller ID and she's seen all the different numbers that called. So she called back, called Huicho, and she let him know, hey, check this out. The boys in blue got me. Wherever you're at, they got all the numbers on our phone. They're going to hit up all those locations. Get out of there. He was able to get out because of this. So she takes off from there and goes from San Jose to Pleasanton, to my mom's house, okay? 10 minutes after she got to Pleasanton, guess what happened? San Jose PD came and fucking rushed my mom's house. SWAT team, everything. Because they thought because she was getting rooms in her name while he was on the run, that she was also assisting him. So they were trying to threaten her with that too. Like, look, you've been assisting him, you know, you're an accomplice to these crimes and this and that, right? We're going to give you a couple of days, and if not, we're going to take you in and we're going to take your daughter. So after that, my mom's a realtor. So she had her broker fill out a notary, giving custody to my mom, right? And so 3 days later, they tried to hem her up that they were going to take her in and we're going to take your daughter. She says, you can't. I've already have it legally notarized that I gave full custody over to my mother-in-law. So if you want to take me to jail, take me to jail. Where do we meet? She went down to the Burger King. They never showed up. So I call her up, bam. She's like, man, they're on me. And she was never involved in trying to be involved in that lifestyle. She only did it because the things I was trying to have her do for me out in the streets, and she did it well. She didn't interact with anybody more than she was supposed to. She kept it solid and she did whatever was necessary. So Huicho shows up and to the county jail, and he's like, hey, gracias, and this and that. So I start communicating with him, Huicho, in Chuco, because Chuco's now there, right? So I'm doing my thing in the county jail. Chuco's in the old jail. I have the new jail. Eventually, they have me up. I get placed down there. So Chuco knew the whole story through Huicho about how solid my wife was in all these actions. I actually had a female visiting Huicho so we could communicate with Chuco, right? Until they had deemed Chuco. So lo and behold, I end up getting in some time. I get out in 2005. I plug into the San Jose Regiment. Now, at this time, my experience, my credibility, everything that I've learned, I'm starting to really, advance within the ranks, right? That I wanted more authority and jurisdiction out there on the streets. I think I could be more productive, you know what I mean? Because I already had small crews out there before. So I had it sanctioned to where I could have jurisdiction and have my own sanctioned crew. Like I had to pull 3 people under me, right? That would work with the regiment, that would get their monthlies, and they were supposed to get monthlies as well. So at that time, I think I was bringing in about at least a minimum $1,500 a month, minimum, right? And I had, I had hoods from BRS that were plugged into me, homeboy from Meadow Fair, Milpitas, Sunnyvale, all these different areas. And we were flourishing out there. We were getting money, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, a lot of things happened, between state and feds was going on. Pocky was out there trying to claim incommunicado. There was a power struggle with San Jose, didn't want to acknowledge anything Salinas had to say. So they ended up reaching out to Skip. They had directions to start recruiting 3 people out there in the streets. So I was one of those ones that they were supposed to start recruiting. Other one was Clayton Shorty Clark, and the other one was Joker from Sahom. So at that time, my responsibilities, I had other things I was doing out there, like I was in contact with 2 different prisons that were incommunicado, so they would report to us and send the money our way. In addition to that, when people were getting out of certain facilities, I would be that contact to place them in an existing regiment, Red Northerners or in soldados like that. So one individual was plugged, told to report to me when he got out to the streets. I knew him. He was a young homie of mine, right? And so when he got out there, I know he's a knucklehead sometimes. And I had things going so well out there, I didn't want to plug him in with myself. I felt he would be a detriment, to my functions. So I elected to plug him in with Lencho. I figure an older C, could, teach him the right ways, because me knowing him, it becomes a little bit of a power struggle because, he's my homeboy. So as all this was going on out there, we're doing our thing. And what ends up happening is we're at this trap spot and he's over there as well. I told him, you're not supposed to intervene in my activities out here, bro. I'm not going to tell you again, homie. And my wife, we had just got an argument and she was going to leave. He asked if he could get a ride. Okay, we've been around each other's baby mamas, ladies, all that. Just the way my hood used to operate, there was no kind of shady shit going on like that out there. So he ends up getting a ride. And in the process of him getting a ride, she was pissed off about me or whatnot. He had that joint in his ear and she goes, hey, spark that shit up. And he turned to her and said, honestly, I want to fuck the shit out of you. And she told him, like, what the fuck? She was more shocked. And she told him, do you want to get killed? Nah, they're not going to do nothing to me. We're out here running shit. I'll tell him that you lied, you're trying to cross me up, and he'll have you killed for trying to cross up a homie in the regiment. Then he tried to grab her, and she fucking slapped his hand. She thought that initially that I put him up to test her. So she was tripping, like, what the fuck is going on? So at that time, I came up on a pretty big lit. Someone owed $10,000, right, to some individual. I ended up going and collecting that debt. Me and a couple of homeboys, we laid this house down. I made him sign over his car. Now, this was 2005 around October, and there was a serious drought out there in San Jose in the dope game. So I decided to take this vehicle to go trade it for some dope to one of the connects. You know what I mean? And basically, the dude wasn't paying contribution to the NF, so I basically burned him for that $10,000 that was over, right? So I wanted to help out a couple of people, and one of them was him. Even though he was working with Lencho, I know how Lencho is. He's just selfish about himself. Hey, I'll shoot you a couple of zips at a price that was like 75% less than the plug value. And he acted all weird, I couldn't understand it.
That's when stuff was going for like 1,500 or something.
Yeah. So she turns and tells me, she goes, I don't like him. I go, what the fuck? And she told me the story, man. And then I fucking just flipped out, bro. Like, what? Like, you're going to disrespect me like that? And there were some things that he was tripping off, right? Like one time, his baby mama that he was with at that time, he was beating on her, right? He had a gun. I grabbed my hand, I put it over his hand. I said, "You're not going to do that in front of me." He goes, "Get your hand off me." I go, "You're going to have to shoot me before you hit her again." So he tripped on that. Another thing, when I seen his lady one time in the streets, I gave her money for diapers. That's what you're supposed to do for homeboy's lady. So he kind of thought maybe something was going on between me and her. I've known her before he ever was with her. You know what I'm saying? That was my homegirl. He was like a little youngster. So I pick up another homeboy from Milpitas, man, another homeboy named Charcoal, that he had done some fucked up shit too as well when he was on that dope. Tried to set the homie on fire and all kinds of shit. So I went to Wedo's house with my wife, had her relay the whole story. And Wedo was at first like, "Let's get this dude." All right, cool. But he's under Lencho's crew, right? So when everything got back to Lencho, now instead of Lencho deciding to back my play, he tried to make every excuse not to, because this dude was selling Lencho a pipe dream. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of bullshit. And so I ended up going over there with Lencho, brought my wife as well. And then she got mad. She goes, "Why do I have to keep on repeating myself?" You know what I'm saying? I'm the one tripping more than she is about it. And she's telling them, "Look, I didn't do this to try to get him crossed up. I did this out of the respect for myself and my husband. This is what happened." And then Lencho goes, "Okay, well, we don't accept that shit." But he didn't do nothing about it because dude was promising to make him money. Now, lo and behold, 6 weeks before this, Lencho's son, Danny, right, who used to kick it and live in Milpitas with my little young homeboys, they all said he was a weenie, right? So he's having problems on the south side with some dudes. And I told Lencho, "Okay, you know what, bro? I'll go handle that shit. When I mean by handle it, I'll go handle it." I was willing to do that for Lencho. So when this situation flipped, right, on me, he's having a different attitude because it benefits him financially.
Yeah.
Right? So he's trying to pacify the situation. I wrote a fucking long ass report. I wanted to go to Chuco, and I brought up allegations on Lencho as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to put materialistic things, money or women or anything before the organization. This is my fucking wife. She's been there from day one, holding her fucking mud. She shouldn't be disrespected. This dude's just a fucking northerner. No disrespect, but that's the way it works within the organization. I'm over here supposed to be recruited as a C, and you're going to tell me that this dude, because he's making you money, you're not going to back my play? And I left two different options. I said, one, if he admits it, okay, let me smash the dude one-on-one, which I was going to do anyways. Let's find the dude $10,000. Let me get half of that. And the first order of business for cleanup, let's have him do it. Now, if he wants to deny it, I'm asking for clearance to kill him. That's all I wanted, you know? And so it was put on the back burner. They acted like they addressed it. They said, okay, we'll deal with it later, my man. What the fuck? And so I'm tripping out there, and I'm running around with a strap everywhere, dope, everything, and I'm running loose. And they're following me out there. And so I'm in a liquor store off Allen Rock. Next thing you know, the cops came and fucking swarmed on me, right? Caught me with a gun and some dope. I get to the county jail, right? And the GIU pulls me out from San Jose, you know, the law enforcement. And they start talking about they know what I'm doing out there, that there's rumors. They showed me fucking wheelers and letters that were written that were talked about me that they had got from SSU. Talking about that I'm being a detriment because of the issues that I'm pushing. So I hadn't made an agreement to actually work with them yet, right? And I had to really think about it. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna do 12 years because or whatever time I was looking at it, for these dudes who don't give a fuck about me, this dude's gonna be out here. This whole issue with my wife's gonna be forgotten about. And I'm supposed to just accept this. I'm like, fuck these dudes. I'm done. You know what I mean? I would have did anything for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I expected that loyalty returned. I felt betrayed. I felt everything. I felt fucking all alone. Like everything that I put in meant nothing. And that was my mindset, man. So it was an easy decision. Now I ended up getting to DVI. I take over that prison. Guess who ends up showing up to DVI? That individual. Guess who ends up burning Lencho for some dope out there and was talking bad on him and his son? This guy. I had to do fucking hit. Wrote my fucking report, sent it to the base, sent it to corporate, no fucking issues. Okay, now you could think, okay, maybe that should be a done issue. but they had already fucking betrayed me. So I was like, fuck these dudes. So I get out and I'm doing my thing. And I get into it on the phone with one of them, right? He goes, yeah, you did that because it was personal in there and this and that. I go, yeah, what? He goes, well, if you have a problem, you can come fucking see me. I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm about to get into it with, you know what I mean, over this shit. So it got left alone. And at that time, you know, I'd been caught with a gun. I'd been caught with dope. None of these fucking dudes even had the audacity to question it. Why was I fucking even out? You know what I'm saying? And my mission on that whole thing is I'm gonna get Lencho, I'm gonna get Weddle, and I'm gonna get the other dudes. Plain and simple. And whatever happens, happens after that. You know, because it was a blow to my ego, man. I mean, it made me feel like everything that I did was nothing. That, you know, and that just really changed my whole direction, you know? So I started doing what I was doing. You know, I did a control buy with Lencho for a gun, a control buy with Weddle for some dope, and a control buy with Joker for some PCP, right? Now, they wanted me to do a whole lot of more stuff. I refused to do it. You had the FBI involved, you had the DEA, ATF, and the San Jose PD involved. And I was playing both sides. I was out there on borrowed time, so I was out there fucking hustling like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because when it's up, it's up. You know what I mean? And if anything gets, if I get pulled over, I don't think they're going to take me to jail. But I found out later they were talking about taking me to jail because they knew what I was doing out there. So investigation goes on for 3 months. We, me and Weddle ended up going to this one spot, a safe spot that I had. Me and him had together, but that they knew about. So someone else was actually over there to meet us. They recognized the undercover. You know what I'm saying? So immediately he told me to grab the stuff, man, and that's where everything became chaos. So I ended up picking up a safe with 2 pounds of meth. Come back, right? I have it at my house. I go meet with these guys, and they're telling me to do this and do that. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, you're not gonna implicate my new girlfriend. That she has nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? Take me in, I don't care. This is all personal between me and them. So I go get the safe and come back. Now they had gave me a phone, which I had never even used it. That you could fucking sit there and push a code in, it changes the number and it records. This is from the FBI. So I'm talking to this FBI agent, and he's trying to tell me, you're gonna do what I tell you, because they wanted me to go after other people. I told him I'm not gonna do that. So I took the fucking phone and I broke it, bam, right? They put me in cuffs, take me down to the police station. They didn't know what to do. So they pretty much ended that whole investigation at that point forward. They come back to me, they gave me this thing to read, and it was, I remember it, it says, call and relay this message to them, that you have 4 BISAs and a red CRV that are following you. So I call Weddle, I tell Weddle that. Weddle, he tells me it was you, and he hung up, bam. So at that time, that's when they did all the new fucking raids and everything that in between, man. You know, there's a whole lot of, you know, misconceptions, you know, as far as, you know, did I do this to get out of time? I gave a fuck about doing time. I would have did that on my fucking, I was only looking at 12 years, bro. That's it. You know, that wasn't the reason. It was because I felt betrayed by these individuals. I felt disrespected by these individuals. You're supposed to be my brother, but you're turning a fucking blind eye to what happened to me and my family. I put this before my own fucking family. But when push comes to shove, I expect you to back up my family as well. And you guys were about to deem me no good because I was pushing up on you guys or just having talks about it. Nah, I'm cool with that. Fuck you guys. So I testified in grand jury. And one of the questions that they asked me was, were you ever promised any time? And they can pull up this grand jury testimony and everything. I said, no, I don't care about doing time or not. I didn't do this for no deal. There was no plea arrangement. There was nothing. I did this for the disrespect, the disloyalty that was done onto me and my family, that I could never be a part of this group no more. I'm no longer going to put anybody first but myself and my family now. And it was left at that. You know, so I mean, you know, I hear people in the comments are talking about like, oh, he wore a wire, he did this and that. Or I don't believe in snitching. I don't believe in telling. You know, this was my outlet to leave the group that was disloyal to me. You're going to deem me no good anyways if I say, fuck you guys. Well, you know what? Fuck you back, you know? And no matter how I try to spin it, it doesn't matter. I'm informed. I get it. You know, I don't believe in telling. You know, there's dudes that come in and catch a case over some small shit. Everything after, I was still out in the streets. I took my own fucking beef. You know, my shit was more personal, but it is what it is. There's no fucking denying it. You know, but you know, you get people on there. Well, he did it because he was scared to do time. No, I didn't do none of that. I could have fucking took down hella fucking people, man. You know, and all the years I put in, all the money I contributed didn't mean shit. You know, my wife held her fucking mud the first time.
Yeah, your
When I
mom's
was
house got raided, all that.
when I was locked up, I owed some money, right? She got our tax return and met with them and paid out of her tax return fucking the Carnales back. And when she went down there, they kind of just slided her. Is it all there? She goes, yeah, I told you, full payment. So I was already feeling a certain way at that time, you know? Yeah, I mean, this is the truth, bro. This is my story. This is what happened, man. There's a lot of more details to it, man, but, you know, it just came down to one thing. When you believe in something, when you put yourself into it full force, sometimes you're blinded with all the negativity that circulates around it. These individuals didn't care about nobody but their own fucking resume, their own pockets. So when push came to shove, everybody bowed down to Lencho because there's Carnales to this day that told me they should have backed your play, that Lencho should have been stripped. You know,
I've seen the interactions. I can vouch for that. Active.
yeah, they told me that you were done wrong. So there's people who've reached out to me saying, you know what, Fox, we know you were a good dude. You know, and even in the process, when all this happened, I went down to my fucking hood, bro. After it was all out there, and I went to a certain homeboy's house. I'll put his name out there because he passed away in Mexico City. He was killed. Went to my homeboy Ozen's house. Another homeboy was there too. That was my homeboy from my hood. Went there. I was strapped up. Came in, sat on the couch. Homeboy walks in, and he looks at me. He goes, "What? You got a wire?" I go, "Nah, I'm strapped." He goes, "Oh, I bet." So I told the homeboys, I go, "Look, bro, this is why I did it, bro. You guys know my wife is solid. You guys know, even though this was my home when I left for him, you guys know how false he is when he's on that dope. You know, you guys didn't even want to get involved in this shit when it was happening. I said, I came here because I'm no punk and I love you guys. I wish I would have never got involved in this stuff. You know, the politics, the organization, it wasn't about the betterment of nothing, but I let my ego get in the way. And so I said, if you guys feel a certain way, I go, you could take off right now, but I'm strapped. I'm not going out. But I came here because I respect you guys. You guys are my homies. Fuck all the organization shit. You guys are my partners. And I wanted to at least give them that, you know, face to face. This is why I did it. And homeboy looked at me and goes, that's why I don't get involved in politics, bro. You know, I go, I know. You know, let this be an example, bro. I told him, you know, don't push the youngsters away from the cause. Don't push them away from the struggle. But tell them that organizational life, it's not all cracked up to be, you know what I mean? You know, I thought I was fucking John Gotti over here, you know what I mean? You know, I had my own authority, making decisions, you know, crews doing this and that, workers, man. I was making a lot of money, brother, you know, and, you know, from there, it all ends. No matter what you do or what you put in this life, your choices and decisions, people are going to judge you just based upon that. You know, no one all knows about my wife being solid. She wasn't no fucking whore. She wasn't running around there doing all kinds of faulty shit. She was fucking a solid fucking female. No homeboys from Peters would say any different. None of the Carnales from Salinas would say anything different. You know, she did not deserve to be put in that position to where she had to explain herself and you guys ain't gonna do shit about it. How many times did I go do things, kicking dudes' doors because they owe some Carnal money that's locked up? You know, it didn't get one penny from it all the time, you know? And so it was basically, you know, it brought me down to a huge depressed state, man, because it's like, man, that's all you had, you know? That's all I had was this reputation, you know, of doing things, bro. You know what I mean? I had a very solid reputation. Nothing bad on my name. Everybody wanted to fuck with me, you know, made money, made right decisions, you know, but I felt let down by the organization, bro. I felt let down. I felt betrayed. And I was like, man, fuck Mencho. You know, fuck these other cats. You know, so that's why I decided to fucking cooperate. And none of the other bullshit has anything to do with it. Because I was still doing so much business transactions that when this happened, I talked to a couple people at that time. I said, you have nothing to worry about. I was doing business dealings with the Salinas Regiment at that time. When Chopper was dropping off dope out there to Manuel Moses Cardenas from Fremont, I was doing business with him, picking up work as well. And we were keeping that kind of on the down low. So there's all kinds of shit that I was doing that motherfuckers weren't getting hemmed up because it was personal, bro. It had nothing to do with anything else. You know, and I'm not trying to justify it. This is my story. This is my truth. You could judge me based upon that. But if something's done to your daughter, your mom, your wife, and the organization turns a blind eye because they're making someone money, how the fuck are you going to feel about that? You know, where I can't even take action because I'm going to get deemed fucking no good. And believe me, I was going to take action when I see him. That's why I had that fucking pistol on. I was going to go against the grain, period.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, man. Now that you told, your story, going back in time, bro, what would you do different? Or would you do anything different?
I wouldn't have.
If you could go right back to that point where that dude harassed your wife.
I probably would have dealt with him behind the scenes. I wouldn't have reported it. See, I reported everything.
Yeah, you're doing it by like how you're supposed to.
I was doing it by the book because he's working with Lencho. Bear in mind, he's a Northerner, but when you get plugged to a crew, you're an NF associate. Regardless if I was being pulled as a C or not, that's irrelevant. He's still functioning under another C can't touch him either. None of us could. Because that's his fucking crew member. Yeah. That's going to be based left upon his decision. Now you can push the issues, right? And Lencho was acting like he was going to deal with it, you know? And the thing was, is me and Lencho, we had bumped heads many times before. We had bumped heads in San Quentin when I was in the back bar, and Weecha was in the front bar. Weecha was trying to recruit me and start me in the process. So the back bar RA, I told him, look, my communications are in a business. You cannot see these filters. He went out there and played to Lencho, who was the RC. So Lencho came out and said, well, I run everything and fucking whoa. All right, you know what I mean? So not just that.
It sounds like DB, man. No. All I'm seeing is Dancing Bear's face, but they're two of the same loaf.
So when Boxer got hemmed up, no one got in contact with me. I was waiting for dates. So I knew about Peggy. Conejo from San Jose just got out, and I met up with him and the homie Monster, and they didn't have a home. So I was trying to pull these dudes with me and Demetrius that were under Salinas, you know, because there was a little bit of conflict over some of the things that we were doing because we were not the San Jose Regiment, but we were operating like as if we were, establishing our own resources. And we were actually running into things that they were doing, or we were accomplishing things that the other regiment was trying to do. So I was trying to build manpower up. So he was close to Peggy's daughter, Coco. Next, you know, he gets in contact with her. She ends up telling Smokey. And when I go to meet Smokey, they say Lencho was fucking pissed. Why is he reaching out to my girlfriend and this and that? How did he know to get a hold of her? Well, fucking everybody knows who fucking Peggy is. I mean, when you ran a check on me, when you said Peggy came to visit you, you said Sticks here. And she goes, what, who, Flaco? So she knows who I am. You know what I'm saying? There shouldn't be no issue. If I'm in Comunicado, I'm supposed to find a way to reach out. So he didn't like that, right? But when he got out, I wrote him. I mean, when I got out, I wrote him, send him some money, because I was asked to send him money when I got out. And he started writing me back. He's telling me, hey, don't communicate with Silver. He's all bad, this and that. And when he got out, me and Wedo met up with Lencho. The first thing he says is, I want Flaco. And he's like, nah, we're good over here. You know, so, you know, we did things together. You know, we went to concerts, and his wife was my homeboy's mom at that time. You know, he had met her at a club, and she told me about it. So I told him, hey, bro, that's my homeboy's mom, man. You guys need to connect together. They ended up getting married. You know, so I kind of always questioned that, did Lencho put that red light because his wife's stepson, which is my homeboy too, but he's from that generation, had a rapport with that individual. Did he put it in Lencho's ear to have it dismissed? I always questioned that, because you know how that favoritism goes. You know, those were some of the things that were going on in my mind.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, there's unfortunately, man, a lot of people, don't get me wrong, I met a lot of people that were cool, bro, and were really about that action and really follow things the way they're supposed to. But then there's the Lenchos and the DBs, and everything that ever happens is only to benefit them guys. You know what I mean? And you just got caught up in that web of
Hey,
some
bro.
rough
Hey,
individuals that have to be
I
forced
was
to be out
smooth
there with,
fucking
man.
operator though, bro. I was smooth, bro. Smooth operator, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, there was all kinds of crazy shit that was going on, man. But I mean, that was hard though, bro, because you're not you're I'm basing my decision when I did this out of anger, bro. You know what I'm saying? Out of anger and immaturity. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Because as smart as I was still immature about life in other aspects. You know what I mean? I always wanted things to go my way. So I can't say that there's anything I would have did any different because I wouldn't have the life I have today. For years, I've suffered through depression because of it. You know what I'm saying? Was running them up for years. Had my son. So when I look at my son, I realize that I would not have him in my life if I didn't make that fucking choice. Therefore, that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me besides my two other kids. So I have to be content with the decision that I made. It led me to where I'm at today. You know,
Yeah.
for a while, man, I was out there acting fucking fool, running into active homeboys, telling me, this is who I am. This is what I did. You got a problem with it, deal with it. You know what I mean? Because I had that ego. Because I felt now that people were looking at me like I was some bitch or some punk just because I did what I did. I wanted them to understand why. You know what I mean? But with some people, regardless how you explain it, they don't care. They're only going to look at you one way. They're not walking in those shoes.
Well, that's because they're still under that. They're fooled by that whole concept of everything. It's always the individual that's wrong, never the group. You know, and let's be honest. Half the time it's the group's fault. Half the time it's the individuals. I mean, straight up, you could be like, "Oh, he went against the grain." No, the grain went against you sometimes, bro, and that's
I'm,
just facts.
I'm gonna say this on here, right? I got to keep it 100, keeping it real. You know, the other two individuals besides Lencho, I faulted them too. But I honestly can't say that I would have acted any different if I was in their shoes. I can't say that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard when someone has more rank. That's pulling that rank card. You know what I'm saying? And we're taught to follow directives, you know what I mean? Orders and whatnot. I just expected more of a stand up, like, fuck this, we got to deal with this. At first, it was like, let's get this dude. Once it was found out that he was working with Lencho, it was like, oh, we got to wait on that. And Lencho fucking decided to handle it the way he did. You know?
which was not at all.
Well, see, I get all that, bro. I lived the life. I seen all the shit that shouldn't have happened to happen to people that had no rank or status. I never thought that would happen to fucking me. I thought I was special.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, never thought that would happen. You know what I mean? I made decisions a lot of times, man, in my career, even as a bro, like, I mean, you know, writing filters and striking them up and sending them fucking to the shoe, you know, talking directly to C's, man, checking them, like, hold up. You know what I mean? Doing things that maybe I shouldn't do, that I still had the backing of a lot of people by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so my whole thing was I'm committing myself to be a part of this. You're trying to recruit me in as a C, but yet you're not going to back me up when it comes to someone else that's just a northerner. You know what I mean? And that's kind of being a selfish talk, but if you talk to anybody that's within the NF or any of these groups, everybody else is expendable.
Yeah.
Equality is out the door.
100%.
Sometimes there's going to be some favoritism. Sometimes decisions are going to be made without the process. You know, and then she'll try to explain it like this. He goes, well, we really can't prove what happened. What do you want? What do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? How do you want us to prove it? We can't prove it with your son, but I was still willing to whack that fucking dude for you. You know, how many times do you hear about people where they disrespect another C's lady or something, right? And the dude gets crossed up over it. He gets fined, regardless, even if the female's at fault. You know?
I hear you, brother. It happens way more often than people think. And a lot of people will always judge, like, whatever reason anybody falls off, not just this situation, but ever, all the time. It's always that individual, that everybody looks at like this, like, man, nah, bro. I used to dictate whether people were good or bad or not. It used to be up to me at a lot of points. And a lot of times, man, the decisions that had to be made were fucked up. That's how
Yeah.
it is. And today's lesson right here, man, is it don't matter what you do, how long you've been around. There's politicking going on. How we always talk about, there's certain clear cut guidelines in the NF, and there's a lot of politicking down south amongst them guys. It's the same thing up north, man. It's who's bringing in money, who's the favorite, who knows who's related to who's this, who's that. And in all seriousness, it's supposed to be the organization number one. All that other stuff is irrelevant except when it comes to the set guidelines and rules. And they're broken whenever it's suitable to benefit the person who has the authority to break them at that point in time. And that's why I say, man, I was real sheltered on how I came in because I came with Tibbs. And I would have been having a mess with all these same individuals, the dancing bears, the lynchos, the lizards, all them weird dudes, bro. And I got really fortunate because of who I got pulled by and who I had to report to. One person. And man, I seen the devastation that all three of them individuals have caused, throughout their time. It's not just Flacco, it's not just, whoever. Man, there's a lot of people, bro, that just aren't good people.
Yeah.
Straight up. All they care about is their dollars and who's doing for me now. If I gave you 10,000 last month, this guy gives you 15 this month. Hey, the guy with 15,000 this month is way more important than my 10 grand last month. And
I'm,
that's
I'm
just
gonna say,
facts.
I'm gonna say this, bro. Anybody that's striving and is a firm believer in the cause and struggle, however they're being indoctrinated, the O is not for you. Because if you really believe in it and you believe in these righteous lines, when you get there, either you're going to become someone different or you're going to be exposed the way I was. Because I started to become different. There's certain situations I dealt with that were beneficial to me. Someone with improper statements. Okay, let's find him. I'll clear him. Even though we have improper statements, he didn't give there's no video and he didn't testify. Damn, but you're going to pay fucking 5,000. This dude did this. Okay, we're going to have him back. It's personal business.
Bending the
You know
rules.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to whatever's beneficial at the time. It happens right now. It happened yesterday. It happened 30 years ago. It'll happen tomorrow.
But
They're gonna get banned.
People say, okay, you wore a wire. Yeah, I informed. When people say, did you snitch? I said, no, I never snitched. I informed you. This is different. And what I mean by that is I didn't go do a fucking crime and then decide to tell on the people that I did it with. You know what I'm saying? I'm just joking about that, but it was a tough pill to swallow. And I hear the comments, I see people talk about it. It's like, you know what, man? I need to put it out there. I need to tell the story. Not nobody else. This is my truth, my story.
And there you have it, YouTube. Straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. My boy Flacco, that's his story for all you guys who are curious, new subscribers, maybe people who always have little comments to make that don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I was nervous
There
on
it
this
is.
one, guy, so bear with me.
You did fine, bro. You did fine. Anyway, YouTube, man, hope you guys enjoy this premiere. Flacco gave you the real deal, the authentic. You know what I'm saying? Some things people don't even like to share. He shared it. Don't even give a damn. It is what it is. But learn from this, man. I knew who Flacco was out there. I know he was out there doing his thing. I know he was participating fully. I know he was being looked at by the big homies for a while. These are things I know. If it happened to him, it could happen to him. It happens to him. The only people it usually don't happen to are the ones who got life. And that's the lesson, is this is going to get you on the BNL or it's going to get you life. And then you could be all this gangster that you want to be so bad when you're sitting in there and never coming home. But for the rest of you guys, observe and analyze everything, not just in gang life, but in normal everyday life, man. So you make the right decisions that are best for you. You know what I mean? Just like in old construction, I've said this before, measure twice, cut once. Do the same thing in life, man. Or you're going to end up in a situation like Flacco's,
Yeah.
like mine, like boxers, like gunners, like any of the homies from whoever, it's not, everybody's like, oh, the cause this, the cause that. Go do 4 terms. Go function in some regiments. Deal with elderly certain individuals that we've been forced to deal with. And then your opinion will hold some weight. But everybody, in the cheerleader section trying to say whoop-de whoop-de whoop, I wouldn't. Okay, that's fine. Come to the yard, don't know what's going on. Let somebody put a knife in your hand. See how you feel. Let a situation happen like Flacco. See how you feel. There's a
All right,
lot.
you too.
There's a lot of talking.
There's a lot more. I'll probably go into more details about how it works and everything. You know what I mean? But for now, I just wanted to put a little bit of the base story out there for you guys just to get a fuller understanding for those that haven't heard, but want to be over there running your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? Ooh.
Have a good day, YouTube. We'll be on live. We'll see after this premiere. I'll probably go on live afterwards. Have a good day. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate your support, each and every one of y'all.